I got the front of the truck up in the air. Those of you who've watched my past videos know that this lift can't pick up the entire truck. So I just lift the front end up, and then I put some jack stands under there and rest the solid front axle on the jack stands as a safety precaution. I grab my 19mm wrench here for that massive drain plug, crawl underneath, and start draining the oil. Another good drain plug drop. Didn't get covered in all that greasy black oil there that never seems to come off your skin or anything, quite frankly, when it gets on it. There's just something about used diesel engine oil that's like the worst stain you can get on anything. Forget trying to get it out of any clothes because it'll never come out. So while we're under here, we'll just do a little check around. Got a little bit of oil leaking there from the intercooler boot, but you know, not to the point where it's dripping continuously. You just get a little drop every once in a while. No leaks around the radiator. This is amazing. This radiator is original with 330,000 miles on it, and it hasn't leaked a drop of anything. That's remarkable. Steering gear looks dry. We got some oil leaking by the oil cooler pipe up there. That's just a job we're gonna have to get done here sooner or later. And you can see the oil running down from that thing. So that's gonna have to be done one of these days. Check our brakes here. The four-wheel drive hubs pretty much stay engaged the whole time because the vacuum lines have worn out on the automatic mode. So we just keep them locked the whole time. I hear that's actually good for the front axle anyway because it helps keep it lubricated. Everything's looking good. Take a closer look at these brakes. As you can see, we got about a little over 50% pad life left. Looks to be about the same on the other side as well. As you can see, underneath the truck is not perfectly dry. I'm pretty sure it's the turbo pedestal seal leaking. I've had other people say it could be the rear main. In fact, a friend of mine who has 370,000 miles on his Excursion was told that it was also a rear main. But the rear mains rarely leak on these things. The turbo pedestal, which is right at the back of the engine, leaks a lot. And then when those oil leaks run down the back of the engine, it makes it look like a rear main leak. So I'm going to have to do that one of these days. You guys will be happy to know that I'm finally taking your advice and using a punch to the bottom of this oil filter to drain it out before taking it out. So believe it or not, that's actually the first time I've done that on this truck. And I'll be honest, it made it a lot easier. So to everybody who left that suggestion in the comments, thank you. And here it comes. Ooh-wee. A lot lighter this time. I'm so used to taking this filter off being full of oil and weighing several pounds, it seems. And now it just drops right out of there and feels like a brand new filter weight-wise. But I'm not stopping there with taking your guys' suggestions. I've also had a lot of people say that I should fill the filter up before installing it. Well, I just drained the old one to make it lighter. This is going to make installing the new one heavier. But I figured, why not try it and see if it decreases the dry start time? I mean, I'm sure it will, but by how much? So while I still don't believe that it's absolutely necessary that every engine oil filter be pre-filled before starting it, because in some cases you can't, like the cartridge filter, or if you have a filter that is like this but it's installed upside down, you can't fill the oil filter up. So I'm going to try to fill this one up here the best that I can and install it, try not to spill, and see how much it decreases the dry start time. And hopefully it'll make some of the people in the comments a little bit happier. It's absolutely amazing how much oil these filters hold. This jug here had 1.5 quarts left in it, and it has almost taken the whole thing. There it is, folks. A whole 1.5 quarts of oil, and it's still not even all the way full in this thing. That is a massive filter. So let's install this, and then when we start it up, we'll see how much it decreases the dry start time. And don't forget to put a little film oil on the seal to make the next oil change nice and easy. The installation is a little bit more challenging with it being full of oil. Now we'll go ahead and reinstall the drain plug, complete with a new crush washer to prevent leaks and to ensure a tight fit. I think a lot of people don't really understand how important a new crush washer is. I've actually seen drain plugs fall out because a new crush washer wasn't used. And the reason they call it a crush washer is because when you tighten the drain plug, you're actually crushing that washer, and that puts tension on the drain plug. If you reuse the old one, it can't crush, it can't absorb that pressure, and then it just loosens up in a matter of time. It's just like metal on metal. Whereas other drain plugs that don't have crush washers usually have like a little rubber seal that keeps them from backing out. So that's why I always replace a crush washer. And always remember, never ever over tighten your drain plug. Just get them snug, especially with a 19mm wrench like this. You don't want to strip out the threads on this oil pan. I mean, this thing is on its 66th oil change right now, and it's the original plug and the original pan threads. So don't ever over tighten. If you sense that it's not tight enough or you want to look at the torque spec, that's even better. But never over tighten a drain plug. You'll regret it. We're done underneath the truck now. We'll go ahead and raise it up to get it off the jack stands. And lower it down. All right, here we go. It's time. Bill, if you're watching this video, you talked me into it finally. 330,000 miles without it, but I figured I would try it, just see what happens. Now this is 16 fluid ounces. With 1.2 ounces per every quart, that's 18 ounces, so we're about 2 ounces short, but that's all right. We'll just go ahead and dump the whole thing in there. And now we'll fill it up with none other than the Shell Rotella Tea. And keep an eye on that oil pressure because the filter's filled up this time. We'll see how much of a difference it makes pre-filling the oil filter. So there's some difference. Not as much as I thought there would be, but there is some. Shut her down for a bit and check the engine oil level. Could use a little bit more, so I'll top it off. The truck has been running for about 5-10 minutes now. I'm just letting that additive circulate through the engine, and I did a few other things while I was idling. And I kid you not, guys, this thing is idling smoother. I am not making this up. I'm not one to just go along with what everybody says and buy into anything, especially when it comes to additives that makes claims like Archoil does. But I am not kidding. This thing is running better already, and I haven't even driven it yet. So I'm anxious to go drive it and see how it does out on the road, and especially when it gets cold this winter.